Welcome to Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I'll be covering every studio song the band has recorded and every bonus track that I can find. Each week we'll go over a new song from the beginning to where they are currently, and as they keep adding albums, I'll keep adding shows. Let the deep dive party begin.
In the magic garden, some were singing, some were dancing.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I am your host, Scott Haskin, bringing you this fan-based, band-endorsed podcast, going through all the tracks that Uriah Heep ever recorded in the studio. As I'm recording this, which is a few weeks out of when it's actually going to air, the new album has not come out yet. It does not have a release date yet. So as of right now, I'm bringing to you what I believe to be the final released, or well, I should say unreleased, studio recorded track until the new album comes out. So this is the last song to cover from the 10 Miles High bootleg album, and it is called Tonight. As far as I can tell, this song has seen no release whatsoever, no official release on any compilation or anything anywhere. I was not able to find anything about this song. In fact, I had to go through and clip the lyrics myself because I couldn't find those online either. So hopefully they're right, or as close to right as can be. Sometimes you don't hear everything accurate, especially when you're not dealing with a clean mix. But that being said, yeah, it's a cool song. And it feels kind of weird to be at this point, you know. When I started the show as of recording time about a year and a half ago, and I thought, God, you know, the end is so far away. I don't even need to think about it. And here I am at it, you know, until the new album comes out. So it's kind of weird. It's not even bittersweet. It's just kind of bitter because I wish there was more songs to cover, but there'll be another album. And I'll say again, if any of you guys are aware of any songs that were recorded that I have not covered, whether it be during this season or any of the album seasons where I covered the bonus tracks that released with the deluxe CDs, please let me know what it is and any information you have on it. You can email me at uriahheeppodcast@gmail.com with that information. Not including live tracks. I'm not going to cover, any of those songs that they did live that they didn't do in the studio. None of that. Just studio recorded tracks. So if you know of any, shoot me an email. Let me know anything that you can tell me about it would be great. Now, this song, once again, to give you an idea who the players are, on vocals, we have John Lawton. On guitar, we have Mick Box. On bass, Trevor Boulder. Drums, Lee Kerslake. And on the keyboards, Ken Hensley. For the final song from not only the 10 Miles High, bootleg album, whatever you want to call it. Some call it the Lost Lawton album. It had a few different names, but never an official release. So again, song order is completely out the window. So it's the last song of the season, unless somebody tells me about something else. So thank you guys for tuning in. And here is Tonight. Well, that's a pretty typical John Lawton intro where we have some John Lawton before the vocals actually start. Very, very traditional of his time in the band. I really like the riff, too. I like that it ends on the same note, regardless of where it goes in the beginning. That's pretty cool. It's got a good feel to it. I'm pretty sure that's a steel guitar solo, so I'm going to guess that's probably Ken Hensley. And it's just a pleasant little opening. I feel a little bit uplifted. I'm so indecisive about how I feel.
I never promised you love that I couldn't give you. If I had nothing at all, you'd live like a queen. I give you my heart, my soul, and my
The thing about this album that I've noticed, except for I think one or two tracks, at least that we've covered in this season, not talking about the ones maybe that we did originally, because they're out of context for me now with this album, but it's a pretty gentle, straightforward album. There's no songs that I would say, wow, this is an incredible standout song or anything. They're all just good songs. There are songs that you can just put on and listen to and not worry about, not have to overthink, just lay down, put the headphones on, stare up at the clouds and enjoy what you're hearing. They're all very well written, very well performed. This is another perfect example. I could see why Feelings, which we didn't do in this season. We covered that when we covered the actual song. I could see how that got to be redone and, done properly for an album. It was a little more up tempo. It was probably a more commercial song, but I think honestly, in the right vein, if you put them on the right station, I think so many of these songs could have had radio play. They're very good, very well written. Other than the mix, potentially a lot of them could have been on the radio anyway. That was pretty nice. Very gentle. Again, I don't know why, because I don't know Crosby, Stills, and Nash's music that well. But for some reason, I associate this kind of feeling with their style of music. I did run into David Crosby a lot at the NAMM show the first year I was there, but that has nothing to do with this. But I really like this. I like those keyboard fill-ins, too, because while they repeated in the middle and then at the end of that last phrase, they were different. And I like that. They were different sounding keyboards and in a different set of notes. But yeah, this has just a really good feeling. This is one of those songs that you could just sit at the campfire and strum guitars and sing along to. Maybe somebody's playing drums on a bucket, something like that. Yeah, I like this. Yeah, the bass is a little bit more balanced on this one, still a little bit more upfront in the mix, just slightly than it normally would be. But I'm pretty sure it's a fretless bass too that he's playing based on some of those fills. They sounded like they were being played on a fretless. That's a whole nother skill. But yeah, this has got a good feeling. I like it. Another wonderful multi-layered guitar solo. Yeah, I mean, if you can call it a solo, it's weird. When I think solo, I think somebody who's playing something different from the song, something that hopefully would fit, and it just kind of goes off onto their own and makes their own little section on top of the backing track. This really is just a vocal replacement, and that's a different thing altogether. I love it, though. I think it sounds great. I love the theme of the multi-layered guitars that we've heard in these solo sections on this album. I think they're fantastic. I think they really fit, but they also do have a little bit of a, not quite a country music feel, but kind of a country music feel to them.
You took me into your world and gave me your shelter. But we were so
So we've got a couple of different layers of vocals from John Lawton coming in here too, but I love how passionate he was in that last verse. You really just felt the joy of being with this person. And, it has that warm feeling to it. Let's just, after the sun goes down, let's just hang out, lay on the beach, and we'll talk. We'll listen to the ocean waves, just something really tranquil that's just you and I experiencing it together. That's what this feel is for me. And here we get into the, slightly repetitive chorus again, but, the song's almost over. It's about another, 34 seconds to what I'm guessing is probably going to be a fade or a quick end. But the feel is so good. It is repetitive, but at the same point, it doesn't feel repetitive. It's just like, I don't want to leave the beach yet. I want to just sit here for a while and listen to the waves. But the difference between like this song bordering on feeling repetitive and some of the other songs where there's a repeated chorus is we're not getting a lot of fill-ins here. We're not getting Mick soloing over the end of this section where a lot of times he or someone else will, maybe bass will or something will go on that will make every pass of this a little bit different and a little interesting. This is a very straightforward, a little bit drier kind of stuff. Yeah, really nice song. Really enjoyed it. It's lovely. It's just a warm feeling song, like so many of Heap's songs. But this is, this is on the romantic side of things and just a feel good song. Nothing really stands out about it as far as dynamic parts or anything like that, and that's fine. Some songs are just, they just need to be played, and I think this is one of them. Not every song needs to be all kinds of crazy and dynamic. Really enjoyed it. I would give this one a thumbs up. I'll listen to this again for sure. And that wraps up season 25, guys. Can you believe we've gotten this far? And as we wait for the studio album, we'll see what happens. Stay subscribed to the podcast, please, so that if I do release some other things, you will have them. You'll be, if you have the bell or whatever it is on your app for different channels set, then you'll get the notification that a new episode is out. Mine are really weird. Like I'm subscribed to a couple of podcasts and they have new episodes coming out and I have to look for them. And other ones are like, hey, over the last 10 weeks, here's all the podcast episodes that came out. Forgot to tell you, sorry. It's really weird. But I do have a couple other things planned. So I'll be moving interviews over before too much longer from anything that I've done under my other podcast, the Haskincast podcast, any member or former or present members. Also, anyone related, like Steve Weltman's interview, I'll probably move over because he talks about Lee and Ken quite a bit. So be on the lookout for those if you haven't heard those already through my other podcast. And thanks, guys. Just take care, continue to enjoy the music, and I'll be back before you know it. Cheers. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. If you have enjoyed this show, please consider going over to Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast outlet, leaving a rating or a review. Be sure to subscribe to make sure that you are notified when new episodes are available. Please be sure to share this podcast with your fellow Uriah Heep enthusiasts and anyone who you think would like Uriah Heep, which should be everyone. And if you are so inclined, please feel free to contribute to the Patreon account. And if you are not a Patreon subscriber, you can also pay through the PayPal link on the website listed in the show links below. I would also like to thank Uriah Heep for their very generous support of the show. And thank you guys for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. Happy days!